My name's Alan Leaver and I'm Assistant Chief Constable with Humberside Police. For a little over a year now, Humberside Police has been working closely with the Foreign and Commonwealth Office following the discovery of human remains on the Rybaki Peninsula in the Murmansk region of Russia. Now, the Russian authorities are currently undertaking a series of tests, both forensic and genetic, in relation to these remains. Firstly, to try to identify and determine nationality, and secondly, more precisely we hope, in terms of establishing more specific identity. The remains appear to have been found in 1974 or 1975 by local people and buried under rocks. Now, this area of Russia, the Rybaki Peninsula, is an area which is consistent with where bodies may have washed ashore from the Hull fishing vessel, the Gaul, which sank in 1974. Well, we made the decision to wait before informing the families because we wanted to be certain that we had something meaningful to tell them. We wanted to wait until the Russian authorities had begun to undertake tests on the remains. We're certainly very conscious of the 40th anniversary coming up very quickly, but the reason why we're contacting families now is twofold. Firstly, because the Russian authorities are now undertaking meaningful scientific tests, and so therefore that is some constructive information we can pass to the families. And secondly, we want to obtain from family members material, DNA, that we can use both to assist, we think, with this inquiry and perhaps also to assist with future inquiries. So it's for those two reasons that we're now contacting the families and providing them with this information. Well, we're telling them that human remains have been found in the Murmansk region of Russia. We're telling them that the Russian authorities are now beginning a series of scientific tests to try to establish where those remains may have come from, and that we're in contact through the Foreign and Commonwealth Office with the Russian authorities to try to provide meaningful information in due course to the families. Well, 36 crew members were lost on the Gaul, and the information we have is that the remains are of not less than 10 and certainly more than 5 people. Well, the information we have is that the bodies were found by local people, people who live and work in the region on the Rybaki Peninsula, and we think they were found originally in 1974 or 1975, and then the remains were buried by local people under rocks, and that information was made available through the Russian authorities to the Foreign and Commonwealth Office in 2012. Well, I have to say that we have absolutely no confirmation or evidence at this stage that the remains are those of crew members on the Gaul. But we know that this area is an area in which bodies could have washed ashore, and so therefore we know that family members will have an interest in this, and that's why we're undertaking these tests. But I have to stress that at this stage we have no evidence to suggest that the remains are those of the crew of the Gaul. No, we're not, and I'd like to emphasise that our inquiries are not in any way, shape or form about re-investigating or re-examining the circumstances in which the Gaul was sadly lost in 1974. Our role is with the Russian authorities to try to establish the identity of the remains that have been found. We've offered our assistance to the Russian authorities via the Foreign and Commonwealth Office to assist in whatever way we can in the identification of the remains. But at this stage that doesn't amount to making any plans to travel to Russia. As we understand it, the Russians are undertaking some fairly complex examinations of a forensic and genetic nature to try to establish as much information as they can about the remains that have been found. But unfortunately and sadly, I have no timescales on when that work will be completed.